So tier lists aren't actually an entirely new thing. I mean, let's be honest, everyone has done them by now. So today we're making a Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's tier list, but it's not just a normal one. No, we're looking at important facts. Which Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's character would do the best in a street fight? Now this is an all-out street fight. This will happen in a random alley in the streets. The only thing they can bring with them is their usual equipment, their dual runner if any, if that's somehow useful, their deck and their dual disc. Nothing special, they can't bring any guns or anything in advance. However, it's a street fight, there's probably some weapons on the ground, you know, just to get the base rules down. So yeah, we're gonna rank all the characters here, depending on how well would they do in a fight. Now, first off, this is like the ultimate dragon that they all summon. I mean, it's a freaking dragon. I mean, ain't nobody beating an actual dragon. That's gonna be very impossible. So the Crimson Dragon is immediately a king of the streets. I can't imagine many people defeating this character in a fist fight. Now, let's look at this one. This is basically from one of the somewhat filler arcs where Jack Atlas obtains his red Nova Dragon. This was cut in the dub, so you probably don't know who this is if you watch the dub. Anyways, he's a literal buddy of the devil, but he's not the dragon or a very solid fighter in general. He uses a lot of tricks. Although he would probably just gang up on you with the power of Satan himself, so he's a king of the streets. Now, let's look at some of the actual other characters. There's a lot of characters in here. I didn't make this tier list, by the way. Just saying. Not sure if the credits anywhere here. Yeah, here it is. Shouts to the one that made this. It's not something I made myself. Alright, so let's get over the important characters first, right? So, how would Yusei do? Now, Yusei isn't the most aggressive person ever. He's very kind-hearted. However, he grew up on the streets. I mean, he had this whole team satisfaction thing going on for him. Plus, we've seen him throw a blow or two in the anime, at least I remember him at least beating up somebody. Plus, yeah, he had to grow up on the streets, so I think he's a very solid fighter. He also managed to pin down Kiryu early on in the flashbacks when he was still part of Team Satisfaction, so he's definitely a very solid fighter. I think this is a right place to put him. Yeah, Jack Atlas. I think he grew up the same way as Yusei, although Jack Atlas is even more willing to pack a punch. Like if you don't work on his side, I could see him just, you know, if he's legally allowed to punch you. Plus, he's the king for a reason. He won't hesitate. Yusei will hesitate, that's holding him back a little bit. Jack will just go for it and deck you if needed. So yeah, obviously. Let's see, next important character. Yes, Carly pre-Dark Signer. I mean, honestly, I couldn't see her fight even if she needed to. Like, let's be honest, it's Carly. She wouldn't hurt anyone. Even if you like put a gun up against her head, like either throw a punch or he'll get shot. She'll probably get shot. I mean, she wouldn't hurt like anyone. I couldn't imagine it. Plus, even if she wanted to, she couldn't fight. So I'm just putting her in absolute pacifist tier. Talk about absolute pacifists, Leo. Actually, he's not that much of a pacifist. I could actually see him try and go for a fight, but that's about it. He'll try and go for the fight, but you know, he's just a little kid. Most of the other persons I'm comparing them to are adults, so he'll get his ass kicked. Now, he won't go down in a single punch. He'll definitely try to get back up and keep on fighting, but he won't do that well. He grew up in the city, he grew up very rich as well, so not like he had a rough upbringing. So mediocre fighter is definitely right for him. Crow, definitely a very solid fighter, probably in between Yusei and Jack. Maybe Crow is actually the highest tier within the very solid fighters. Now the thing with Crow is that he also grew up on the streets, but he had to protect all these children. No, like for sure those kids he was protecting would get beaten up or something, so he had to be physically strong, even more so than Jack and Yusei. He was in the same gang. So I think we can put him in the highest part of the very solid tier. Is anyone in these top tiers actually important? Let me check. I mean, this is like such an ordered mess. Ah, yes, Bruno. That's a hard one to imagine. I'd say same tier as Carly, just a bit stronger than Carly though. That's for sure. He wouldn't hurt. Bruno wouldn't hurt anyone. No way. It's just not gonna happen, buddy. Yes, other form of Carly when she's a demon. That's, well, probably like about there. I mean, keep in mind that she's a Dark Signer at this point. She literally possesses some kind of powerful devil, plus she's also a human. It's hard to rank between these two, like which one is stronger. I think, definitely not stronger than the Crimson Dragon though. but she would definitely be strong. Now, if she's up against Jack, probably like a glass jaw mediocre fighter because she wouldn't hurt Jack, but you know, the Dark Signers could inflict real damage with cards. The evil spirit revived her from the dead already. I'm not sure if Dark Signers can even physically be hurt, so yeah, definitely here above this little Crimson Devil. Let's see, who's next? Lots of irrelevant characters, and then there we have Luna, Leo's sister. Not one of those absolute pacifists, definitely weaker than Kali though. If Kali had to fight, you know, she's still somewhat of an adult. Luna was really young at this point, so absolute pacifist for sure. Like, no doubt she wouldn't hurt anyone no matter the conditions. She wouldn't fight. So I think this is a fair placement. Let's see. There's a lot of characters here that we need to go through. This will be a longer video, but I hope you guys don't mind. Yes, the MC. Of course, the MC. He's the one calling the fights. I mean, he's not even gonna fight. But if he had, he's just your average person. I think it's fair to put him in average person tier. I mean, we don't know enough about him. We just know he's a sick-ass announcer. But yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the right place for him. Kiryu post Dark Signer. Now this one is very hard to rank because I've seen rumors of him having psychic powers after, you know, he kept his memory after the whole Dark Signer fiasco. And the gun seemed to really damage his opponent after the last duel in Crashdown. Although it's Kiryu in this broken state. Let's assume it's post Redemption arc, it's at the start of Crashdown. Although he was all about fighting back, so it's very hard to place him. I'd say he can pack a punch. He doesn't. He will fight, but a part of him doesn't really want to. He wants to lose. He wants suffering to end. So I think can pack a punch is appropriate for Kiryu in this form. Now let's immediately look for the next Kiryus, if any. I mean, I doubt there will be a version of him pre Dark Signer, Team Satisfaction Kiryu. Yes, of course, Dark Signer Kiryu. Here, he is a sadist, like seriously. Already before becoming a Dark Signer, he was a really good fighter. The Dark Signer, of course, you know, the Earthbound Immortal powered him up more. But compared to Kali, he's probably way better at fighting. So I think King of the Streets is appropriate here. Who's up next, though? That's a real good question. Let's continue the Dark Signer trend, Misty. Probably a bit more willing to fight than Kali. You know, Kali was probably the one that was most forced in. In comparison, Misty was also a victim, became a Dark Signer by accident, of course, but she was a bit more willing than Kali, I think. So she would also theoretically be a better fighter. Plus, you know, she's a model. Models train a lot, actually, to keep their body usually. So she has probably a well-trained body as well. So, of course, not as brutal as Kalin or Kiryu, but, you know, stronger than Kali. What do we go for next? Regular Misty, that's a good one. I mean, when we saw this Misty in the anime, she was basically already a Dark Signer. She was just hiding her identity, so theoretically we should place her here. But let's assume we're talking about average person Misty. Once again, models go through hell of a training to fight like that. I think she keeps her body in shape very well. I think can pack a punch. I mean, I don't know what kind of training she goes through to be a model, but usually those people go through, you know, they train their body well. So I think she can pack a punch, but not as much as Kiryu. Anyways, let's continue with the tier list. Next up, that's a difficult one. Rex as a Dark Signer, yeah, that's the king of the streets. I mean, if you ever play Duel Links, did you see how big his body is? He possesses both the Crimson Dragon and the Earthbound Immortal, you know, gods. Yeah, plus his physical body. Like, I'm pretty sure if you try to stab him with a knife, the knife will break. Like, he's just that muscle. He's insane. Like, I'm inclined to create a god tier of its own and just put him in there. I mean, have you seen him? Jesus. This guy can't be touched. So yeah, top of King of the Streets, no debate. I'm pretty sure he could somehow beat the Crimson Dragon, although I'm not entirely sure how that fight will work out. I would be interested to see it. Yes, Defiance Smirk face. I think he is a King of the Streets. Now you might be wondering why. As I said before, they can keep their decks with them. He's a Psychic Duelist. He can just play that one spell that summons a Fireball, which he has used before. To just, you know, obliterate people. Almost like it's a gun. In a physical fight, Divine will beat everyone. Or Sayer if you're used to the dub. So yeah, King of the streets for sure, weaker than the Dark Signers, weaker than this devil, but definitely a king of the streets. It's way stronger than any of these guys. Just simply due to actually, you know, having some kind of weapon. Yes. Regular Godwin. So he still has a mechanic arm, which he can probably use well. I think he only got his body due to the godlike powers though. His metal arm will help a lot. Let's assume people don't know about its existence. It will be a nasty surprise that will give him an unfair advantage. It's basically a weapon, his metallic arm. But I doubt he has the fighting skills like these three do, because they grew up on the streets. Wait, he also is from I almost forgot, he's from Satellite. Oops, big spoilers for 5Ds. Yeah, he grew up on the streets, he has a metallic arm. Very solid fighter, almost came to the streets because of his growing up. Anyways, who's next? Yes, Ghost, which is just a generic robot. And how are you gonna beat a robot in a fight? I mean, assuming it's somewhat built to physically fight if needed, you're not gonna win. I mean, it's a robot, what are you gonna do? Try to unplug him? I mean, unless you... It's gonna be very hard. Talking about robots, Fake Jack is also a robot. Although he has the advantage of looking like Jack Atlas, so you think you're fighting Jack Atlas, but it's actually a robot. So yeah, Fake Jack Atlas is weaker than Divine, because it's still just a robot, he doesn't have any psychic powers, but you know, stronger than normal AI, because you don't know it's a robot, it's just... You look like Jack Atlas, that will catch you by surprise, and the element of surprise should not be underestimated. Whew. Anyway. So, this cultist guy, D-Vac he was called, right? This was... No, this is not D-Vac actually, this is... Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. This is Rutger Godwin, it's his brother. I'd say about here, I still think Kiryu is better than him in the fight, but he is one of the ones who initiated the whole Dark Signer thing. He can definitely pack a punch. He once again has the Earthbound Immortal to, you know, basically make him act like the zombie, which should be immortal. Yeah, I think he's a king of the streets, but Kiryu is just an absolute savage that has shown how to use like a pipe as a weapon. He's one of the few that attempted a murder. I don't think he succeeded, but he was trying to go for it, so he's the one that's definitely planning to like, if it needs to be done, he has no regrets. These are, you know, they also fight really well. They're impossible to beat for regular humans, but at least they aren't that sadistic. Kiryu is the most sadistic one. Oh, D-Vac. Ooh, that's a hard one. I'd say about here, he became a Dark Signer out of his free will, I think. But we just don't know a lot about them. I'm just assuming these two at least have somewhat of a heart yet he's just, you know, somewhat of a weird cultist. Although I assume Robin is stronger, but that's just a quick assumption. I don't know, honestly, I have no idea. Anyways, this lad, Bomber, that's his name. Have you seen his body? I think he can overthrow Rex. Definitely not a king of the streets, probably the highest very solid fighter, I mean. Have you seen his body? He's willing to fight, he has his ideals that he needs to live for, so he has extra motivation, yeah. Very solid fighter, I mean, what's there more to say? Yeah. Who shall we pick next? Yes, Rudolf something, I forgot his exact name. Rudolf Weissman, I'm not entirely sure. He's anyways... he came to the Duel Academy and somewhere in 5Ds to try and change the rules, get some people kicked out. He was basically a parody on Kronos. What do they call him again? Crawler from GX, you know, the weird teacher. I'd say he talks more than he can actually fight. He was a very weak duelist as well. I'd say about mediocre fighter suits him well. He obviously got his position of power just by climbing up the ladder, but not by being strong or anything, so mediocre fighter it is. Who's next? Monkey, yeah. This came from a magical world, he had spellcasting as an ability. I think he should be here, like here, probably. He can turn people into stone or something, I believe. Or at least change their aging, or it's been a while since I've watched that part of 5Ds. Usually when I rewatch, I skip that part. But anyways, he has magic and stuff. Let's assume he has his staff with him. I mean, that's basically what he always has with him, so it's fair to assume he has it with him. Yeah, it's gonna be impossible for anyone lower than him to beat him in the fight. I mean, what are you gonna do against magic? Most of these people don't even know about magic, like what? No way you can deal with that. anti-Nomi, so huge spoilers for the end of 5Ds. Please click away if you haven't watched yet, or if you don't care, then keep watching. He's also a robot. I'd say he's better than a regular robot, but weaker than Jack, because Jack has more friends, Bruno doesn't have that many, plus this is anti-Nomi. He doesn't seem like a friend to most people, but he does exactly seem like a robot, so there's a bit of advantage, but not as much as looking like Jack. Yeah, he's just, you know, a robot. Although we could assume Bruno is also a robot, but let's just assume this is Bruno acting in character. He does want to not look in character. Absolute pacifist is still the case for him. Though his Dark Signer form, yeah, that's whew. That's Dark Signer. Well, yeah. Oh, sorry, this is Dark Signer. I mean, this is a robot. This is not a robot. Well, it does act like a robot. This one would just use whatever features he has on him. Yeah. I mean, fair, right? Akiza. She's sadistic early on. Let's just say it's a bit early on. She has some psychic powers. Although she has a bit of a heart, so below divine. But yeah, she has those powers where she can actually use the card effects against people. But she's less sadistic than divine. She's somewhat of a heart at least. So yeah, about here. Although if we're talking about end of 5Ds, yeah, the Hunter is writing, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Early Akiza, Aki, hard to beat. She'll just use some card effects to just, you know, knock you down. Maybe like Black Rose Dragon, because she's a psychic duelist, so yeah. Let's see, am I missing anyone? Ah, yes. Trudge. Whew, that's a difficult one. Let's assume he got proper training and knows how to fight. He doesn't have the body of Bomber, but he's probably better than Rex, because Rex probably hasn't fought for a while, and he's actively armed with probably some weapons on him. So let's just do all this. Let's assume he has a gun with him. Wait, he probably has a gun with him. He's probably just gonna place him here, although he'll lose to the robots. Let's just assume, for cloud's sake, that he's a policeman. He probably has some kind of gun with him, or at least has a lot of combat training. I mean, safe to assume he has. Very solid fighter. I think we had most imported characters by now. Z1, that's also a robot. Although less trustworthy than these guys. I mean, it's Z1, he's a villain, like seriously. But you don't know he's a robot, so higher than this one. Then Ghost. Who probably had most relevant characters by now, so let's just start at the top left, unless let's just go through it one more time. I think that's about it for the very, very relevant characters. Now we're just going that set of category basically. Filler character that came to the repair clock shop thing. Yeah, he's very clumsy, probably just goes down in a single punch. These three guys, so these basically became pseudo Dark Signers. They got this evil possessed card that could inflict real damage. And there are three people. Probably about here, because they will lose to the Magic Monkey, but they can probably beat up a robot with three people and a possessed card, so yeah. Now, these are the parents of Aki. There's two of them, but still, they don't seem like fighters, but there's two of them, so you know they have the advantage. I'm grouping them together. So, above the MC, but they're not exactly great fighters. Jesus, this is like one of the two children from the Crash Town. She doesn't seem like a fighter either. Probably a bit more willing than Luna, probably, but that's just a guess. Yes, these three from early 5Ds. They grew up in Satellite, but I needed U-Side to survive. So probably the three of them will be like here. They would probably beat Misty because they gang up on her and stuff. Kiryu, however, would probably beat them. Yeah, I mean, they needed U-Side to survive, they were just leeches. I don't think they can really fight for themselves. These random two tourists, I think they were showcased early in the Dark Signer arc, like they were interviewed when they talked about the Nazca lines. Why the hell is such a specific card in the steel list? They seem like pacifists. They look like literal hippies. But there's two of them, so probably here. This other cop, I forgot his name. He's the one that Jack got that level 7 synchro that switches attack and defense from. He's a cop. Not from Satellite though, so probably here is accurate. the son and child of the clown guy, which I forgot the name for, excuse me. Yeah, I just forgot his name. Anyways, man, it's a kid and his wife, like, no, they're not gonna fight. Group of children, that's under close protection. I mean, yes, they're a group of children, so they'll probably use dirty tactics, but I can't imagine them actually fighting. They probably can fight a bit. I'd say Glassjaw. I mean, they're just 4 tiny children in the end, you can probably just easily beat them up, but they will at least try to fight. Which guy is this again? This is... Man, so many random background characters, I don't even... where were you from? Well, it's not really relevant, let's just put him here. Average person. Sorry that I forgot you, it's been a while since I watched 5Ds. Ah yes, one of the guys from Team Unicom. Probably just average person. Although he's alone, so there should be right. That one reporter, that's annoying. Probably a mediocre fighter, but better than these two. Because, you know, as a reporter in such a city, you probably need to get into tight situations at least. Yeah. Therefore, that position right. Oh wait, this is like the King of the Netherworld that I actually tried to summon. It lost to the Crimson Dragon, but it's the King of the Netherworld. It's definitely stronger than these guys, trying to summon them, so this is probably right. Aporia, another one of those robots, probably weaker than Z1 though. Although he looks less robotic, so probably this. That guy from the prison, I mean, he's a boss of the prison. He probably has seen a fight or two. Probably the strongest in the kind of pack-a-punch tier. I mean, it's not far from a protagonist, although... Use them being a cop as an argument. I'd say about here, probably. I mean, he can probably fight, plus he looks tanky, not gonna lie. Oh, that's offensive. Yes, yes it is. Alright, now her. She has experience using weapons. I mean, she had a whip. She also has something of a gun, right? Thought she did. She knows how to fight. So, can't pack a punch. Not so much as these three, because they're with 3, but, you know, she can probably throw a punch. He is a sleeper, strong fighter, I think, like, probably here. I mean, he gains a lot of data, he travels to satellite a lot. He probably knows how to fight. This is just one of those random kids. Mediocre. This guy was a bastard. But, you know... He probably had to fight at some point, but, you know, he's probably not the best fighter, and he doesn't seem like the guy that throws a physical punch anymore. Makes sense. Another one of those guys from Team Unicorn. Oh no, wait, this is not Team Unicorn. This is actually the Nordic guys, I forgot their name. Anyways, yeah, they have a Nordic god behind them. I assume it will help them in a fight. Just as much as these guys. So probably like there. Another one of Team Unicorn, he seems like more of a fighter, more of a Chad. He was with the Leaster, but he didn't seem like... He seemed more like a doctor than really a physical fighter, therefore... where are we putting him? I'd say about... Here probably is right. I mean, he is the type that would go for a fight, but he's probably not an active fighter, if it makes sense. There's one doctor guy that was really creepy that was investigating Aki in a fight. Yeah, he seems like the Glassjaw kind of guy, you know, that you just beat in one punch. Because he's like a doctor, he's evil, but he didn't really seem like he had physical training. What kind of tier list is this? So many random background characters. Next time I should just make my own tier list, lol. Another one of his friends, probably the weakest one from them. This corrupt businessman. Usually these guys are all talk, so probably like this. He has henchmen from that fight for him, but if he's alone he's not going to be able to fight. Another one from the Nordic guys, probably, he's a trickster, he's probably one of the most surprising guys. This and the other one are probably more down straightforward. But he looks like a more of a Chad, so this is probably the right order for these. Ancient Fairy Dragon, about here probably. I mean, it's a dragon, although it was a peaceful dragon. Probably if it needs to protect someone, can probably fight. Yusai's father, probably about here. I mean, he did seem like he seemed like a doctor type of guy, but he probably has used blood, so you know, he can probably pack a punch. Butler, king of the streets. He's probably he has shown to have physical training. He can pack a punch. He has been shown packing a punch, I believe. He's literally trained to be a bodyguard. He's like Alfred from Batman. Although this one is more, Alfred doesn't really fight. But anyway, get the point. Trained to fight, trained to protect. Probably the strongest non-power king of the street guy, you know. Another one of those creeps. This one was used on Luna. Probably same story, although he seems even weaker. Actually, he's a bit stronger, probably. She's a bit more normal. Now, this guy fought against Aki, I believe. He lost in the wall. What's it called again? Friendship Cup or whatever. He had a sword dual disc, but that was just a dual disc. He was basically LARPing and acting to be somebody with a sword. I don't think he can actually fight, so whew. Probably best in the mediocre tier, but he doesn't exactly seem like he can fight. Now there's this one guy that was the first Dark Signer. He was infected with a spider. Now Spider managed to sneak up on him and capture him, so probably easy to surprise, therefore average person but weak. Literal ghost, I believe. Was like a ghost from some haunted house in a filler episode. So probably better than the machines, but probably like here. I'm not sure. It's such a random episode. Ah yes, this guy. This guy was all up in the ground fighting. He looks physically strong, so probably there. Ah yes, Mukro something. Yeah. Not one of those mediocre guys. He looks tough, but he probably isn't tough. This guy came from the city, moved to Satellite because he got caught. He got caught, so he's probably not the best fighter. Probably loses against all three of them if they were to group up, but they don't group up, so yeah. Another guy of Team Unicorn, right? He's like the brains behind it all, probably not a physical fighter, so yeah. One of those random side teams. These guys are pretty weak, I believe. So, mediocre fighter, there. Literal old man at this point. Although he was also back from the dead, so he was one of those machines. And you think he looks like a grandpa, so he's actually very strong. Just don't see it coming. Yeah. Yes, the clown guy, I forgot his actual name. It's like a mastery of trickery. Will probably Crow Man failed to catch him, so you know. He'll probably just trick you and somehow outsmart you. Lawton. He grew up in a town with guns and stuff, but like once again, guns, and he doesn't have a gun with him, probably. It's safe to assume he can pack a punch if he wants to, but these three will probably group up on him. Actually. Yeah, I think this is about fair, yeah. Not one of those robots, this one looks like a little bit of a kid, but he already seems like you can't trust him, you know. Literal more religious cares for people, I mean, she comes a bit nasty across, like, yeah, at times, but definitely not somebody that will hurt you, so pacifist, about here, probably. Random kid that's linked to Bomber, probably like here maybe, not sure. Mikage, assistant, can probably fight a little bit, can probably do like this much fighting. Probably. That's just a guess, no idea who these people are, you're just throwing them in average person behind. Although they are with two of them, so probably like this, I'm not sure who they are though. If I had to guess, they're the parents of Sherry, which I almost forgot, she's also a relevant character by the way. Now for Sherry, she can probably fight as well, just not as good as a butler, but almost on the same level. That's just a guess. Wait, hold up. Did I have her already? Oh, this is somebody else then. These two look like the same. Probably also one of those kids from like the Bomber backstory then. Whatever, they're all weak, doesn't matter. Paradox, robot, same story. Doesn't look like a robot, like less than these guys. Probably somewhere like here. One of the kind of kids from school. Placido, chat robot, but still a robot, so probably like here. He has robotic parts on him. Dark Signer Bomber, still probably like here, he doesn't really want to do it, but she's probably like, positioning wise, he's probably there. If he actually had to fight, he can do it. Like, yeah, a regular version of him is pretty high, then he has the powers, but like, these guys are actually evil. He isn't necessarily evil, he just, you know, kind of accent. Yeah, Rally, Glassjaw for sure. He would probably try to fight, but couldn't do it. All of those random backstory characters that I forgot about. So average. Roman Goodwin before he became a Dark Signer. Jeez, probably just a bit stronger than Yusei's father, let's say, about here, probably. This Sly Kid, he probably can pack a punch, like, I'd say about a little bit less than average. I mean, he does mind going for dirty tricks or anything, you know? No idea what is this. Average. Yes, that one assistant from that place. Probably a Glassjaw of Carly's rivals. This guy, leader of a criminal gang, although he has a lot of goons that work for him, he probably can't do much of fighting himself, so he can probably pack a punch, just not that great. Another one of this random team that summoned Sushin, Sleeping Giant. Grandpa, he wouldn't fight. Think about here, he wouldn't fight. Yes, Regulus. Spirit Animal, does it have any powers? I don't think it does. Still, people will be scared as hell because it's a lion, so I'd say about here, if I had to guess. A lot of those random kids from school. Also here, Glassjaw. Oh, wait, yeah, Glassjaw. Actual ancient mage. Keep that in mind. This looks like a kid, but he actually has the powers of an ancient mage, so that's that. One more of the kids from Crashdown. Old Grandpa that would definitely try to fight, but he is old and he probably can't fight. Within this team, I don't know actually who wins. Another one of those random characters I don't know, so let's just put him average for now. Yeah, the one in charge of the reactor. Would he fight? Nah, he's just all about grooving and stuff, he can't actually fight. And then there's this one, takes care of Yusenko in the city, but yeah, just like Barta, she wouldn't fight, but if she needed to, pardon me, if she needed to, she could probably do it, but yeah. If you hear 5 of these characters were involved in somewhat of a fight, this is how I would rank them. Any positions you disagree with, tell me so. I hope you guys liked this ID, if not, I probably won't do it again. If you guys want to see more like this, tell me so. Anyways, hope you guys liked it. Atlas YGO signing out. Peace.